This is the APRTAT bamboo dining bench. If you're thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience. I have the 35-inch version, and I've been using it mainly as a shoe bench near the entryway. I wanted something that gave me a place to sit while putting on shoes without taking up too much room. I also wanted enough open space below the seat to keep a few pairs of shoes from spreading across the floor. The bench is made from solid bamboo. When I picked up the individual pieces during assembly, they felt light enough to move around without much effort. Once everything was tightened, the bench felt stable. It did not have the loose or hollow feeling that I've noticed with some inexpensive particle board benches. Assembly was simple. There are 3 main sections, the seat and the 2 side frames. They connect with 8 bolts. The included Allen key works, although turning it near the corners can feel slow because there is not much room for full rotation. It took me around 5 minutes to put the bench together. I spent another minute checking each bolt and tightening them evenly. I would suggest starting every bolt loosely before tightening any of them all the way. That made it easier for me to line up the holes. Once the frame was aligned, I went back around and tightened everything. I did not have to force the pieces together, and the bench sat evenly on the floor when I was done. The 35-inch length works well for 1 adult with plenty of room. 2 adults can sit on it for a short time, depending on their size. The stated capacity is 450 pounds. I did not try to measure that exact limit, but the bench has handled normal daily sitting without shifting, creaking, or bending. I feel comfortable sitting on it to put on boots or tie my shoes. The seat is about 17 inches high, so it feels close to the height of a normal dining chair. I do not have to crouch too low when I sit down. That matters more than I expected, especially when I'm dealing with shoes that take a little longer to put on. The slatted seat has a clean and simple look. It also lets air move through instead of trapping moisture around shoes or towels. Dirt and small pieces of debris can fall between the slats, though. That means I sometimes need to sweep under it instead of only wiping the top. The surface feels smooth, and I have not noticed rough edges or splinters. Cleaning has been easy. I usually use a slightly damp cloth and then dry the surface. I would not leave water sitting on it, even though bamboo handles normal indoor moisture better than some materials. The seat is firm because there is no padding. That has been fine for changing shoes or sitting for a few minutes. I would want a thin cushion if I plan to use it at a dining table for a long meal. The spaces between the slats are noticeable after sitting for a while, so comfort depends on how long you expect to stay there. I've tried the bench in a few spots around the house. It fits naturally in the entryway, but it also works at the end of a bed. I used it there while folding clothes and setting down a bag. It can also hold towels in a bathroom or a few plants near a window. I like that the open construction does not block as much light or airflow as a closed storage bench. Compared with benches that have built-in cabinets or cubbies, this one is much easier to move. It also makes a small hallway feel less crowded. The trade-off is that it does not hide anything. Shoes, bags, or other items underneath remain visible. If you want concealed storage, this probably will not meet that need. I've also used metal shoe benches with thin padded seats. Those can be more comfortable, but some of them wobble or make noise after the hardware loosens. This bamboo bench feels quieter and more rigid in my use. I still check the bolts once in a while because any flat-pack furniture can loosen over time, but I have not needed to make frequent adjustments. One concern I had was whether the narrow depth would make it feel unstable. It is about 13 inches deep, so it does look slim. In use, it has stayed planted when I sit normally in the center. I would not sit heavily on the outer edge or let children climb on it. It is a bench, not a step stool, and I use it that way. Another thing to keep in mind is the finish. Bamboo has natural variation, so the grain and tone may not look exactly the same across every piece. The darker brown option can also look more reddish than it appears in some photos. I would pay close attention to customer images if matching other furniture is important. Mine looks simple and works with the rest of the room, but color matching can be tricky online. I also would not keep it outside in direct rain or strong sun. It may work on a covered patio where it stays dry, but I see it mainly as indoor furniture. Repeated water exposure could affect the finish and joints over time. This bench makes the most sense for someone who wants a compact place to sit in an entryway, bedroom, bathroom, or small dining area. It is also useful if you want open storage underneath and do not need drawers or cabinets. It is easy to move, quick to clean, and simple to assemble. It may not be the right choice if you want a soft seat, hidden shoe storage, or room for several people. The 35-inch size is useful for one person and manageable for two, but it is still a fairly small bench. I'm happy with how it has worked for my daily routine. It gives me a stable place to sit, keeps the entryway more organized, and does not take up much floor space. I would recommend it for light indoor use as long as the firm slatted seat and open storage fit what you need. If you have any questions about the APRTAT bamboo dining bench, leave them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more practical product reviews like this. Thank you for watching.